Not that kind of story. I'm going to show you what it's like to be transgender. Not what it's like for someone else, no. I'm going to show you what it would be like for you to know you were. To have your whole life, your memories, and your identity as a person come apart, disintegrate, and then come together again as someone new. It's a pretty weird and huge thing to get your head around. Like really strange and different, but hopefully with a happy ending. I'm going to show you what it's like. In fact, I've already started. The first video I ever made on this channel was about the 17th century French philosopher René Descartes. He wanted to find certain knowledge, something he could be absolutely sure about. So he decided to doubt everything. Like, am I certain this table exists? Until he found out that he could not doubt that he was thinking, because doubting is a kind of thinking. So he was like, aha! I'm thinking, so I must exist. Don't know about other people. Jury's out on them. Don't know whether I really have a body, because I could just be a brain in a jar like the Matrix. Don't know about space. Don't know about time. But I definitely have a mind. I think, therefore I am. And this move very much set the tone for a lot of Western philosophy. Out of Descartes' work comes loads of questions about skepticism, about God, about am I the only person in the world? Am I just a brain in a vat? And about what we can really know. If you've ever picked up a basic philosophy book or taken a 101 class, that's all your standard bread and butter stuff. For a while, it very much set the tone for this channel too. Descartes was certain he had a mind. And he had some ideas about what kind of mind it was too. A single, unified, detached thing, separate from his body and other people and the world. He even thought it wasn't made of matter like bodies are. He thought it was made of special mind stuff, or res cogitans in Latin. Big contrast to Audre Lorde, who, like I said at the start, was all about the body. In fact, Descartes' idea of the mind is quite weird if we think about it. The philosopher Charles Mills has pointed out that you have to be pretty secure in your life to question whether the world and other people exist. He says that if you're, for example, a black person in the United States like Audre Lorde was, the question, do other people exist, might seem kind of frivolous. Because you are very used to the idea that other people control large parts of your life. It seems weird to doubt that the world is there because you feel mental friction that occurs when it's difficult for you to move through it. Descartes had to convince himself that other people were real, but Audre Lorde had to convince other people that she was. She had to be like, hey, I'm not an object, I'm a person, just like you. There's this famous argument in philosophy called the zombie problem, which asks, could there ever be such a thing that looks and behaves exactly like a human but doesn't have any internal thoughts or feelings, no mind at all. And it's supposed to provoke questions about consciousness, but Audre Lorde found that's not an abstract philosophical conundrum. As a black, gay, communist woman, that's how people treated her every day. Like something that resembles a person, but whose inner life doesn't matter. Descartes also never had to convince himself that he was real. He was certain of that. I think, therefore I am. But Mills points out, if you're treated like that every day, you will sometimes wonder, maybe these people are right. Maybe I really am just a piece of shit. There's a scene where Lorde goes to Washington, D.C., and she's dazzled by all the monuments and the buildings. And wow, there's the White House, where the president lives. This is America! This is the Declaration of Independence! This is all men are created equal! This is the place where the manager of the ice cream parlor asked me to leave because I'm black. This is the place where even in progressive communist meetings, people exclude me because I'm a lesbian. And where that kind of thing is not only allowed, it's socially and legally required. Do I exist or not? So Lorde puts forward a very different model of identity. Identity is the philosophical topic of what it's like to be... For starters, she's not a detached mind, like Descartes was. Like I said at the start, she's very much inside her body, and occasionally other people's. She's not just one individual either, she's part of a web of people who shape her. The white people who control her life, obviously, but also her friends, her family, her lovers, affect who she becomes. Not in the sense that, like, I was straight and then I chatted to some lesbians and turned gay. No, but in the sense that there was some spark. She saw something she loved or found intriguing in other people, and over time realized that spark was recognition. Like, whoa, that's how I feel. That's what I like too, Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme. She doesn't sit alone in her chambers and learn everything about herself by examining her own mind like Descartes. She gets knowledge of herself from others. We think, therefore we are, therefore I am. For example, here's a passage describing the first time she got to know a woman. Nothing explicit. Get your mind out of the gutter. Get your literature-appreciating hats on. Loving Ginger that night was like coming home to a joy I was meant for.
And I only wondered
silently
how I had not always known that it would be so. My hands, wherever I touched, felt right and completing, as if I had been born to make love to this woman, and I was remembering her body rather than learning it deeply for the first time. So this was what I had been so afraid of not doing properly. How ridiculous and far away those fears seemed now, as if loving was some task outside of myself,
rather than simply reaching out and letting my own desire guide me. I'll take that over Descartes any day. The other noticeable thing about Lorde's model of identity is that she's not just one thing, the mind, the force, like Descartes was. She's a woman, and black, and gay, and a communist. Sometimes she's more one than the other, depending on what she's doing, and sometimes those aspects of her identity are in tension with each other. Like when she finds out one of her communist flatmates has been denounced by their organisation for living with a lesbian. There's a clash of identities there. The crucial thing is these individual bits of her are not like fractures or scars on the surface of what once was whole. They are the whole. Her identity is like a mosaic. It's not broken and stitched back together. It's meant to be made up of lots of little pieces, and only when you stand back and look at all of them at once Do you see the whole picture? And this affects her political philosophy too. Nowadays, a lot of people think of identity politics